Hi, I'm Nilankur. I lead the programs at Museum of Goa. And today we have with us the artist and the filmmaker Purandar Chaudhuri and his team at Museum of Goa. They have started this exhibition called A Voyage to Permanence. Welcome to the museum.
Thank you, Nilankur.
And it's great that Goan people are going to see the kind of work that you've been showcasing in this, the films and the prints and the visual poetry that you said. So first, my first question will be like, if people who are unfamiliar with your work, what do they expect from this Voyage to Permanence exhibition?
I think the whole idea of permanence is basically the absence of impermanence. It's the whole idea of impermanence, which kind of brought us to the idea of permanence. Now, things that we leave behind, things that we love very dearly, things that are very close to our mind, things that are very close to our heart, is something that we kind of leave behind, knowing very well that none of us are permanent here. And it's this whole search of things which are kind of permanent in a way, is basically the quest through which we kind of try to curate or explore this whole work. And that's the whole thought, and that's the whole idea of kind of building up this whole work, or this whole show that we are actually talking about.
Like, by hearing whatever you said, maybe I'm like sensing it. Are you saying duality is permanent? Because everything is impermanent. Like day and night. Like everything, death, life. And you have worked so much on migration. The photos that I could see, like daily wage laborers, the passion of them. Like how are you positioning those images with the permanence?
Yeah, let me just try to reply to you in this form of fashion. I would say all artists. It could be a filmmaker, or it could be a writer, or it could be a poet. I think there is this deep thought or deep feeling that is there within all of us, that we are not going to be here for too long. And then there is this whole quest, knowing that I'm not here for a long, but there are some things which I truly value, there are some things that I truly love, there are something that I truly care for, will be left behind. And I think it is this search which, it's not only with filmmakers. You read Tagore, you talk about writers, you talk about filmmakers. If you talk about someone like Tarkovsky, he always says that it's a preparation of death. I mean, you knowing very well that you are, and it also gives you some amount of spiritual thoughts or deep spiritual feelings. And I think all forms of art, actually somehow, somewhere, it kind of comes from there. It's the whole realization that I'm not going to be here, but the sunrise that is so close to me, or the sunset that I have seen, that will be there, or the tree that I look up to, or the place where or the river that is so close to my heart is going to be there, but I am not going to be there. And this overwhelming feeling of this is what creates, I would say, great art. And I think all this work that we have tried to do over a period of last 5 to 6 years, these 3 films and the work, it in a way attempts to connect those dots. That's exactly what we are trying to do. So if I talk about the first film that you talk about, let's say Dhushar, it's basically a journey of a solo traveler. It's basically a kind of a travelogue. It's a journey of a solo traveler, and it is the places where the kind of places that he travels, the kind of places that he goes, and that kind of reminds you, or you get into that very, very overwhelming feeling that that you are basically maybe a soul of a timeless traveler. Now, when you are standing in front of the ghats of Kashi, you suddenly realize, that it's It's not you. Maybe there are thousands and thousands of people like you who came and stood in front of this particular garden and saw a sunset like this, or maybe saw a sunrise there like this. So it's that feeling. And then if I talk about from there to Tremors is once again a story of an old man who is at the last leg of his life, and the way he reflects at life, and the whole feeling that he's not going to be there, but the flood of memories, the flood of thoughts, and all that comes to his mind, knowing very well that he's not going to be here for long. Now that's if I talk about the second film. And third, when I talk about the migration,
intermingling that part,
yes, the impressions of mingling. That's, I think it's something, that voyage or that search has been there for thousands of years. As we talk, there are people who are moving, people who are crossing borders, moving countries, moving continents, and that's constant. That's going to be there. And I feel that's where all these three works that we have done is somewhere linked, and that's where we felt that maybe a name like A Voyage to Permanence, the search of permanence, I would say, is something that we kind of try to capture or try to.
Got it. It's more clear to me now, like why it's Voyage of Permanence, you call it. So then again, coming back to your films, I see a certain kind of visual language that you use, monochromatic, abstraction, silence, like that. What draws you to this visual language of yours?
Yeah. Very simply, very plain. To think, you need silence. You can't think when there is too much of noise. So if you want your viewers to engage with the work, which requires a deep contemplative thought, it has to be done with silence, because that's the way I kind of look at it. If you talk about art, you talk about music, one of the most important thing is the silence. I mean,
silence when you the notes in the jazz music.
Yes, that's correct, and it kinds of creates that moment or that mood which helps you to kind of reflect and introspect, and that is one. And second thing, monochrome is very simple. Though if I really have a very simple answer to it, I would say it helps us to declutter our minds. The world that we live, I mean, we naturally live in a world that is full of color, and it's very interesting to see a world when there is no color, and it naturally lends itself to a very different kind of meaning when there is no color, when you're looking at things which you're not used to seeing it like that. That's one. And also I feel monochrome lends a certain amount of depth, a certain amount of subtlety in terms of the way you look at life or the way you look at things, and that's the way I would that's the way I would like to say it. That's my reply.
So your films are documentaries, but like kind of a visual poetry. I want to dig a little bit more about the lived realities and the artistic interpretation that you have. Like, where do you draw the line?
It's very difficult. I think we are trying to do something, not consciously knowing that are we doing something new or something different. But yeah, we are trying to explore in some kind of a genre. Now, if I could say it like this, let's say I grew up watching a lot of Ray, Ritik, Ghatak, Mrinal Sen, and I think what stayed with me, or what I would say what inspired me the most, is their visual language, or visual poetry, where a large part of those films are actually shot completely outdoors, and these are all in a way non-fictional shots, because they're not staged. They're natural people moving, walking. But then there is a great sense of poetry when you look at those frames, and it kind of moves you. So I think I would say it's since then that I've been drawn into visuals, or I'm drawn into films which are non-fictional. That the real life itself has a story, and it really depends in terms of how you look at it. Boring, mundane, so-called boring, mundane, ordinary lives, there is a lot of poetry to it, and there is a lot of art to it, and it really depends how you kind of look at it. I think the source of the work that we are trying to do, or my team is trying to do, is basically inspired by that, and facts are there all over. And I also consciously stayed out of facts or stayed out of documentary in a way, because I feel in this day and age, the information is there. It just takes you seconds for you to kind of look up or to kind of check or to find out. These statistics, the documents, the information is there, and but what actually attracts us, or attracts me more, is this zone where you are somewhere between a fiction and a non-fiction. You're looking at real things, but you're looking at it differently, and you are not looking at it maybe the way it looks at the way it actually looks like, but it does something to you when you kind of look at it. It could be a rock, it could be a mountain, or it could be just a simple person who is just standing. So I think that's something which kind of moves me or moves us, and we draw a lot of inspiration from that kind of stuff, and we are just trying to push that particular boundary. That's exactly what it is.
Somehow, Purandar, it reminded me of Ritik Ghatak's film where the protagonist is a car or Jantrik, like that kind of artistic interpretation. Again, coming back to the exhibition, you have different mediums. You have got films, you have got photography, you have got books, the new techniques of printing, not new, but different kind of techniques of printing. How do you think it is complementing each other? Is it necessary to have all these mediums coming together, or any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it definitely is not necessary. There is a lot of ways to look at art. I mean, you can just look at films the way you look at films. You can look at art the way you look at art. But I think it's a very, very interesting exploration, because all these different mediums have a different way to look at art. One is that, and second thing is, maybe it's the way I am, and the kind of things that brought me here. Because I've gone to a theatre school when I was 4 years old. So I think my first entry into the art world is actually through theatre. I've gone into a theatre school from the age of 4 to age of 17, thanks to my mom, who kind of forced me into that particular theatre school. And then my love with films, which started again very early, somewhere around 16, 17 years old. And then moving into the galleries and the art galleries and the museums, the kind of things that I've seen, and also music, because I think the family that I come from is actually very high on music. So, and I feel my whole understanding of art is actually a combination of all of that. It somehow merges, and it's very interesting you have said that. Now, if you look at Ritik's work, and that's what I feel. I always see a Van Gogh there. There is a Van Gogh there in Ritik's film. Now, if you look at Tarkovsky's film right now, you'll always feel there is a Bach, or there is his father's poetry, which is there, which is also a very big part of the film that he is actually doing. That is there. Suppose if you look at Ray's work, if you talk about the trilogy of Ray, and trilogy of Ray is definitely not complete with Ravi Shankar's score, which is
a big soundtrack itself.
Which is phenomenal. If you look at this whole thing now you can always say, if there is that particular score is not there, you can still watch the film. Of course, you can watch the film, but you look at what that particular score has done to that particular film, okay, and the story and the whole novel, okay, and so somehow all these things are related. So the whole idea is to see if all these mediums come together. Does it somehow? How would I say? How does this the experience of engaging with art or viewing with art changes or differs in compared to when you are just seeing it just by itself? I think it's a very, very, and also to do with I think it's we have a team like that. I mean, we have a great guy who is also co-creator, Mr. Prakash Braggs. He's somebody who's absolutely great in terms of this Kali type prints that we have done. So a lot of this work also that I've done is inspired by seeing his work, the kind of work that he has actually done. So that is to do with that. It's also to do with sound. There's a young boy who works with us, his name is Prabhat Shetty, who works in Bombay, who has actually created the soundscape of the first one or two films that we have actually worked on. So and when you look at them differently, it also does something to you in terms of the soundscape by itself, the visuals by itself. We just felt if you layer them up, maybe the whole experience of actually viewing it will be very different.
Now I'm getting convinced that it is giving you a deeper engagement, the audience, because of the 3 medium. So again, in your curatorial note, you asked the visitors of your exhibition to slow down, like in this age of like attention economy, why do you expect the audience to like slow down?
I think this whole exhibition is in a way protest. There's an antithesis to what is happening to life.
Looks like that.
No, it's not like that. But I guess I think it's at some ways it's not true, because when you talk to people, you call them Gen Z, you call them however you want to call them. It's not very. They're not very superficial. They also have a lot of depth, and they may be looking at things like that. I mean, you'll be surprised. If you come to a place like Bangalore, the number of film clubs that have actually come up, the community film watching is becoming very big. And you'll be amazed to see the kind of films they're actually watching. They're actually going back and watching films in the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s film. And so you can, so there is a genuine curiosity, and there is a genuine, interest in terms of going back to art. So maybe people are looking for it. People are, I would not say tired, but I'm sure there is some kind of a fatigue in terms of going through this, the endless scroll that you are actually doing. And moreover, whatever all said and done, I would say, life itself, there is some truth in life which you cannot go out from, and it's very core. For you to, silence is a very important aspect of life. I mean, you can't leave silence, out from life. So slowness is important in life. I mean, you can't think, you can't reflect, you can't introspect if there is no slowness. So I think it's very important. So what we are trying to do is, in a way, is not something different. It's something very core to our life itself. But we are just trying to explore that particular fact. Maybe
I believe you have given us an avenue to engage deeply with ourselves by looking at your artworks. So I think we're coming to an end of this conversation. But I've got this last one question. Like, why do you think Museum of Goa was the right place for this exhibition? Like, what draws you to this museum?
Very interesting. I think there are quite a few things. First and foremost, I think Museum of Goa is one such place which champions the contemporary art. And when I talk about contemporary art, I mean it's a great platform for filmmakers to actually show the films. I've seen the kind of work that you guys do. There are documentary shows, there are film shows, and there are theater activities. That is one side. And then second side, what I really like about this place, this serious engagement across different age group of people, which is fantastic. Yesterday, when the first batch of people who actually walked in to see our work was actually a group of children who actually came from a school, which is fantastic. I think it's a great work. The whole idea of making a very important generation art conscious, I think it's a very, very important journey. And I feel Museum of Goa is one such place. I would not say in Goa, but I would say in the country, who is actually doing this particular work with great diligence and with a lot of passion. And that way, I think it's a great place for us to actually show the work. We are absolutely thrilled.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. And to our audience, the exhibition is open till 21st, or I think it's 23rd, we will get to know. And our museum is open from 10 to 6. Please come by and see the museum and have an interaction with this team. Purandar and his Prakash Bugs and his friends are all here. You can have a talk with them and understand their philosophies. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much.